At InDigital, we know that public safety professionals hold themselves to a high standard. In fact, standard doesn't do it justice. In over 25 years working alongside you, carrying millions of calls over our IP networks, your dedication has inspired us. That's why our ESI Net goes beyond industry standards, not only i3 compliant, but designed to adapt to future development for a network you can count on when it matters most. Learn more at indigital.net.
Here in Greenville County, we have 8 different places where a 911 call can be answered.
It is the largest county in South Carolina. It's a challenge.
The type of information that a telecommunicator gets from Radius Plus is location-based technology. You can see where the caller is, if they have a medical issue, if they speak a different language. They're immediately able to text to that caller in their native language. It reduces response times because it immediately gets first responders where they need to be.
If Within the Trenches has ever taught you something, open your eyes to what it is like to be a 911 dispatcher, or has inspired you to become one, then help support us and join our Patreon. Get exclusive bonus content, one-of-a-kind swag, discounts on merchandise, ad-free early access to new episodes, and much more. To join, please visit patreon.com/WTT podcast. And if you're an industry partner, we have something for you as well. And now, for the show.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
Welcome to Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is going to be episode 398 of Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them. This episode is sponsored by InDigital as well as Rapid Deploy. Shout out to patrons as always. And I wanted to jump in here really quick. You're going to end up hearing the intro twice, actually, because this episode 398, is actually going to be an open mic episode. This is from the encore session of Imagine Listening at Navigator 2021. Shout out to the IAD and Navigator for hosting the podcast and everything. It was an excellent conference. Thank you so very much for the continued support. I appreciate it more than you know. And thank you to everyone who was there at not only the first session, but also this encore session. The first session I was unable to get the recording for, but the second session I was able to get. So that's what this is going to be. And this is going to be open mic. So without further ado, here is open mic from the Imagine Listening session, the encore session from Navigator 2021.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
There is no one over here to cook our lunch. We are waiting for our lunch. There's no one here to cook our lunch.
Alright, calm down. Where you at?
Come on home. What are you gonna do?
We'll do some help over there for you, okay?
Welcome to Open Mic, where we visit the lighter side of dispatch, because laughing is good medicine. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Within the Trenches podcast. But this is a open mic live session. We're here, and I have a live audience with me. Let's hear it. Damn, does that feel good? Because don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the virtual ones. A lot of the virtual stuff was great, but
Holy hell, it is good to see all of you here, and we're going to be sharing some funny stories. We just went through Imagine Listening, went through some emotionally intense stories, which is good. It is good for us to feel and to be here for each other. But now, let's share the lighter side of dispatch, the funny shit that happens that, it just helps us break up the chaos that is 911. So who would like to start? Who has a story? All right, well, let's start here. And also, it only takes one story for them to go all downhill. So we'll see how this goes.
So I work at an agency where we dispatch for 6 counties. And one night I was working overnights. I think it was right after 4th of July. And I get a 911 call and, take that nice big breath and answer the phone. And all I hear is kind of some rustling around and nothing too crazy going on. And so I'm, hello. And all of a sudden, this younger sounding kid comes on the line and, I'm real sorry. I didn't mean to call 911. I said, okay, that's no big deal. What's your location? I'm in Waverly. Okay, but I'm mapping you in Watertown, which is quite a ways away. No, I'm in Waverly. Okay, well, I show you on the whatever block of 29th Street or whatever. And he says, yeah, that's where I'm at. I said, okay, is there a reason you didn't want to give me your address? Ma'am, I've been drinking, and I'm underage, and I'm gonna get an underage ticket, and you have to send the cops, don't you? Yeah, I'm sorry, I do have, at that point I was kind of like, man, I feel like a total dick. Yeah, I have to send the cops, and he's like, that's okay, I understand. I'll wait here for them. And in my head I'm thinking, no, run. Run away. I'll never find you if you hang up. And I said, okay, yeah, you can stay there, sure. And he says, okay. I said, well, what are you wearing? Because my officer is going to be looking for you. I'm in an American flag suit. Perfect. Okay. He's like, yeah, I'll kneel down and I'll have my hands in the air. He's like, can you wait on the phone with me? I'm like, yep, I can wait on the phone with you, but you don't need to do all that. Just run. That's what I'm thinking. And he's saying, no, I'll just wait here. I'll just wait here. Okay. And so I give it out. My officer thinks I'm crazy because he's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. He drives over there anyways, and he tells me afterwards that he was just as surprised as I was that he was still standing there with his hands up in his American flag suit. And I told him that, I said, why were you drinking tonight, And, well, I'm kind of depressed. My girlfriend just broke up with me. And I said, well, I'm really sorry to hear that, but alcohol is a depressant. So, it probably just added insult to injury. He's like, yeah, I know. I won't do it again. I'll never know if you do.
Awesome. Thank you so much. America. All right. Here, we'll go here and then here.
Hi, in my county we have a prison. I get a call from one of the prison nurses that one of the inmates has basically, done some really bad things to his genitals, right? So I send a medic out to pick up the call, and the medic gets there and he's all wrapped up, but it's all bloody, everything's a mess. He gets in the rig and he calls me on the radio and he says, I unwrapped this guy. There is no penis. There are no testicles. It's all gone. I'm like, oh, that's not good. So he says, hey, call the prison, see if the guard can go to the cell and at least look for the penis. Okay. So I call the nurse back. She connects me to the guard. Hey, I need you to go. The guy does not have a penis. What? I said, yeah, you got to go back to the cell and search for it. He says, oh, Jesus Christ. So he goes back to the cell, comes back. I got the package. Okay. So I call the medic. I said, the package is on its way. Okay. So then the medic Goes out at the hospital. Everything is great. I call him about 20 minutes later. I said, the package is there. The prison's quite a ways from the hospital. And he calls me right back. I said, so did you get the package? He said, yeah, I got the package. It looked like a goddamn albino pickle.
I don't even want to know how it was like wrapped, like in butcher paper or something.
How am I supposed to follow that?
I know, right? Like, thanks, that's our time.
So it's about 6 o'clock in the morning, and all of our day shifters are coming on, and it's all of the older guys that are not interested in really being there anyway. And we receive a call from a female who asks if our officers carry handcuff keys. And of course they do. And, my dispatcher's like, can you, kind of explain why you need a handcuff key? Just send your officer here. She's like, I'm going to need you to explain what's happening. She's like, well, we had a little bit too much fun last night, and we've got someone that's handcuffed naked to the bed, and we don't have a way to get them undone because we don't have the keys. And they need to go to work. But please don't send, all names have been changed, Lieutenant John Doe, because we know him. And that would be really bad because we're family. So needless to say, we send one of our officers, and the first thing he says is, Central, is this a joke? No joke. There's no name in here. That's for a reason. And the next thing you hear is that lieutenant say, do not get that on your body camera, please.
All right, well, in the first half hour, lots of Kleenexes were passed around and passed to me, given for my story. So this is my way of perking everybody up. I worked at an agency, a small family-owned agency in Louisiana that actually dispatched for counties in Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. And of course, you read the articles about education levels in certain southern states, and they're sitting around 48, 49, and 50. That having been said, I had a caller 3 months in a row. And fellas, my apologies. I understand that in certain instances, your mindset is, given the nature of the call and it's a female, you're going to load and go. I understand that. I can understand that. Well, I get a call from this tiny little town right across the Mississippi River near the casinos. And I have a young lady about 23 years old. And she goes, I need an ambulance. Okay, ma'am, what's going on? Well, I'm bleeding. Well, ma'am, where are you bleeding from? Well, I'm bleeding from my down there. I'm like, okay, tone out the call, get them headed that way. And of course, they put 2 and 2 together. I was like, okay, that's happening. I don't want to know why or the how. Load and go. Okay. Well, be it that I took good to the book learning at a young age, approximately 28 to 30 days later, I get another call. Same address, same age female patient. What's the address of the emergency? Okay, tell me exactly what happened. Well, I'm bleeding. I'm like, okay, ma'am, where are you bleeding from? I'm bleeding from my lady parts. Okay. Tone it out, send a unit. Most of those crews are all guys, so get on scene, load and go. Just get them on the stretcher, let's load and go. We're not gonna deal with that, we're gonna go. So, I'm like, I'm sensing a pattern, but she's 23. Surely this has been happening for a while. Has no one told her? Again, approximately 28 to 30 days later. What's the address of the emergency? Same small town in Mississippi, right across the river, near the casinos. How old are you? I'm 23. Okay. I said, okay, tell me what's going on. They're like, I'm bleeding. I'm like, okay, where are you bleeding from? I'm bleeding from my Virginias. Tone out the crew, give them the info, again, another all-male crew, and I went, can I get you to public service, please? And I call them in, and basically, Me not being Sherlock, but again, taking good to the book learning. Fellas, do we not notice a pattern? Like, what are you talking about? I went, 3 months in a row, same thing. Apparently, her vagenius is retarded. You might want to have a talk with her. Needless to say, I never got a call for that ever again.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. You can go next, and I've got one up here.
Okay, mine's kind of a cute little call. It was my second year of dispatching, and my daughter was 6 years old, and it was about 5:30 p.m., and I was due to be off shift at about 6 p.m. So 911 rings, and I pick it up, and I look at the screen, and it's my mom's house, and my heart just drops into my stomach because I'm thinking something's wrong there. And I said, 911, what is your emergency? And I'm kind of shaky, and I hear this voice, hi, Mommy. And I said, my daughter's name, what are you doing? And she said, where are you? I have my costume on. I'm ready to go. It's Halloween and it's getting dark outside. I'm waiting for you to come home to take me trick or treat. And I said, you're not supposed to call me on this number. And why did you call me here? And she says, well, duh, 911 is your work number. So I use that story when I go out and teach the elementary schools about calling 911. But she wasn't wrong because our plant equipment company gave us license plate frames that said my work number is 911.
All right, we got time for just a couple more. I have one here, and then
I have one that's about a month old. It just happened.
And then we'll be done. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So this one is kind of funny, but also creepy. So we were short, and I was working the channel, and just picked up a 911 rollover and called it back. And I don't know if my agency's stuff is in here, so just FYI. But I have the actual recording of it because I thought that this guy was going to be wearing my skin the next week from the way that it sounded.
No problem, sir. Can you just tell me your name and phone number so we can close the call?
My name is Mr. Mariscal. I don't know what this phone number is, but I think my voice matches your voice.
I'm sorry?
I said I think my voice matches your voice. You have a radio voice.
I'm sorry, sir. I don't understand.
What I'm saying is I have a radio voice and you do too. That's the only thing I wanted to say.
Okay. All right, sir. And everything's okay there?
Yes, this is dispatch. Who am I calling? This was an accident.
You've reached 911.
Oh, I did not mean to call you.
No problem, sir.
910 area code, and somehow I got to you.
Gotcha.
Great.
You too.
So once he said this is dispatch, I was like, what the fuck is happening? I was like, why do you even say that when 911 calls you back? And I was like, oh my God.
It was creepy. All right, yours, and then we'll wrap it up here.
So I've been in this profession for 15 years. This happened, I think, within my first year or two. So very new dispatcher. Answer the phone, and this woman's very upset at what's going on. Well, my sister fell off the couch. She's not breathing. So immediately I'm like, oh God, this is it. Grab the EMD cards. And I should preface this with she had a very thick accent. It kind of came through clear. Maybe English wasn't her second language, but it wasn't so hard to understand that I felt like I needed to get, the interpreter service on the phone. Hindsight 2020, I just wish I'd done that. So I'm talking her through, and we use the cards there. So I flip to the cards, and I'm like, okay, so this is what I want you to do: get them on the flat surface, head back, pinch the nose, 2 puffs, puck her through. She's like, okay. She's like, oh, okay, she's breathing, and she had said it was her 7-year-old sister, and I said, okay, well, she's breathing now. I said, okay, that's great. Can you tell me how this happened? She's like, she fell off the couch. She fell off the couch. She just kept saying that even before I gave CPR. My sister fell off the couch. She's not breathing. How old is your sister? 7. Okay. So she goes through, pinches the nose, 2 breaths. Well, she's breathing now. I'm like, okay, great. And I'm trying to figure out, how does a 7-year-old fall off the couch and just stop breathing? So I ask her that, and she starts screaming at me. Why are you asking me so many questions? She's turning blue. She's not breathing. And I was like, oh, you just said she was breathing. So I go back into CPR, and the entire time, trying to talk her through CPR, I'm talking her through CPR. And you know how it is, first responders hear kid call, everyone drops everything. Everyone rushes through. So my sergeant heard the call first, whipped through town, got there first. On the phone with her, they bust through that door. There was no knocking, there was nothing, it was just bam. And they go in, and I hear him say, okay, where's the kid, where's the kid? The woman's like, what kid? Everything in me was like, oh God. Oh God, what happened? What happened? She's like, they're like, the kid who can't breathe. She's like, no, you're here to save my dog. I was like, oh God, hung up the phone. I was like, oh God, because everyone in the room is like looking at me now, like, I'm like, is this where I type out my resignation? Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'll find another career. So I go back and I listen to the playback, and I'm listening. And at this point, my detectives have come in, and I have a great relationship with those detectives. So they come in and they're looking at me and they're like, Nicole, what's going on? And I'm like, now I'm getting pissed because I can't hear on the recording where I screwed up. The 3rd time I heard it. And I was like, oh my God. They come in, they're like, let me listen. And I didn't want to, I was like, let's see how many times it takes these hotshot detectives to hear where the screw up was. Took them several times. When she said, my sister fell off the couch, her accent to play on words. What she said was, my pincher fell off the couch and is 7 years old. So when I actually told her, I want you, and she had a mini pin, whose name was Vinny, by the way. And so when I told her, I want you to tilt the head back and pinch the nostrils and give 2 puffs, she did that. She did it. How she knew he was turning blue, I don't know. I don't know, but to this day, I see min pins and I feel slightly triggered. I don't know if he made it. That's everyone wanted to know, right? Side effects of this job. Everyone wanted to know, did Vinny make it? Good Lord, I have no idea. I do know I got a lot of shit for it, to the point where the next day those same detectives faxed into my dispatch center a mock AKC, American Heart Association certificate, congratulating me for trying to perform CPR on Vinny.
Okay. Last story.
Okay, mine's short, and I'll make
then they're
it
going to kick us out.
Mine was about 2 a.m. I took a call for a disturbance, and it was a little 12-year-old boy. His parents were fighting over being able to afford Halloween costumes. So he wanted to be taken out of the home because they were arguing, and he wanted to let me know that wherever he was taken to, they needed to notify that he's an emotional eater. His favorite food was spaghetti, and he didn't have enough food for dinner that night. So they're going to need to have spaghetti ready for him and just be prepared to feed him a lot because he was quite emotional. So he was super cute, and the officer talked to him about why you call 911, and he wanted to come down at 2:30 in the morning to apologize for calling and wasting our time. It was very cute, though.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you, for being here, for sharing these stories, for Imagine Listening as well as Open Mic. The job that you do is a hard one. It's a stressful one. Hold your head up high, because not a lot of people can do this job. And we've been here together, healing and sharing, and it's just been amazing to have you here. Thank you so much for the job that you do and for being here for each other. Thank you.
I would like to thank everyone for being in there for Open Mic Live. That is always a fun session to do, especially after you've gone through 30 minutes of Imagine Listening. Some of these harder calls, and some of them saves. They're rare calls that get put out there, but a lot of them are the tough, hard, but yet powerful stories. And by the time we get through those 30 minutes, you want to laugh. You want to start sharing the lighter side of dispatch. And that's what open mic is all about. So thank you all for sharing those stories. It was an excellent session, and we're marching towards episode 399 and an epic episode 400 that I recorded at the National NINA Conference in Columbus, Ohio. Those are going to be the next episodes that are coming up, so make sure to stay tuned for that. It was an excellent time at both conferences. Again, thank you all for being there, for sharing stories, whether it been for Imagine Listening or Open Mic. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. And thank you for being just so amazing at the job that you do as the most vital piece of public safety. You're awesome. You all are. I love you all. If you have any comments, questions, or you want to be a guest on the show, you can email us, and that's going to be wttpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. That is @91podcast. You can like us on Facebook. That is facebook.com/Within the Trenches podcast. And this episode is sponsored by InDigital as well as Rapid Deploy. And shout out to patrons as always. Thank you so much for everything. If you are looking for any bonus content and you would like to support us there as well, you can check out patreon.com/WTT podcast, and you'll find all the information there. Again, thank you so much to patrons. And like I said, we've got the next episodes coming up, 399 and 400. It is going to be awesome. This episode can be seen on Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube. And then you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.